Hey, hello everybody, and welcome back to KF&JF podcast. Like I say, man, we're always out there on the move looking for our next big star, because everybody that
Mm.
comes on this show is a star. But I tell you, they blow up. And next thing you know, they out there in their own store, they got their own pop-up tents, and they just growing and growing and growing. And we're so happy to have a guest on our show that is definitely grown and everything that he's been doing with his business. And we're so proud
Mm.
to have him on. So, you know what I like to say, we like to thank everybody out there that's, actually come and view our show and take in this information that we provide to our, audience from each one of our guests, because everybody's unique in what they say and how they see their business and how they understand the business world. And we're really appreciative of that. And we also thank you for going to thejoybeloved.com and making those purchases that help us to be able to, bring this podcast to you and get out there to all of the events that are happening, in our community, outside of our community, and try to make sure that we are there to bring these stories to you. But as you guys know, you guys have been looking at this show and checking it out. And you know what? As long as you're subscribing and doing that part, it really helps us out as well. But I got to introduce our co-host. So let's go ahead and start with that and give him a round of applause in your house while you do that.
Greetings. My name is Razak. I am the CEO and founder of United Minority Business Ventures. My purpose is to help small businesses grow. This means I will assist with the creative process and maintenance of your business. The method to achieve results is simply building a deeper relationship with your customers. I do this by forming opportunities to communicate and collaborate with your followers, subscribers, and other business owners. By using a wide range of networking tools, we will have an understanding for building your business profile, what type of social media marketing fits your productivity and your availability, and building your financial profile, branding your services, product, or merchandise. Together, we may also determine what type of license is needed to operate your business. And does your budget permit the ownership of your own domain or buying into pre existing sites that host your page? I like to drive traffic by managing your website. This allows me to work with you to select posts that create subscriptions, comments, and likes. I also assist by generating comments on other individual business sites or a page that create a dialogue of conversation directed towards your page. I also assist with the creation of the content on your media site. This will be a collaboration of ideas which will reflect on your brand, your work ethics, and the community's need to know what you have to offer them to bring a better quality of comfort to their lives and lifestyle. I can also assist with the writing of content, directing your videos, the editing process, and publishing them on various sites for marketing purposes, advertising, and promotional value.
Yeah, we're so happy you're here today, man, and I'm so proud of you just to say that in advance. Well, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody that's out there, sir?
Yes, they call me the Wiener CEO. All right. Yeah, I'm the owner of Eat My Wiener, EMW LLC. I've been doing this for about 7 years, and it's a pleasure for you guys to or to be on the show with you guys. So I appreciate being here and give me the opportunity to talk to everybody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what we're here to do. We're here to learn how you have turned a wiener into such a big old thing. And so everybody's out there, not only enjoying your food, the way you put those combinations together to bring those flavors out in your dish. I'd like to know right off the top, what's unique about you besides that?
You know, I I did this from a place of love and happiness, and it says it on my card. And a little bit more background. My grandfather was an executive chef in Hollywood. His name was Margarito Korea, and for some reason, I believe that cooking and food has always been in my heart somewhere. Also, I like to have a good laugh, and I believe that these two met together, and this is what we got today. This is what it is. So, my passion with food and my personality, I guess, are coming out a little bit and what I'm doing.
Well, you definitely have the personality for what you're doing because it creates happiness, man, just talking to you and be able to just watch how you interact with other people when I was out at the International Food Festival where you were at. So let me ask you, how did you come up with the name? What was the reason behind the name? Or did you just say, hey, this makes sense to me?
Yeah, so it was mostly it was a joke, honestly. Uh, a friend of mine I went to high school with, he does pinstriping for Harley Davidsons. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with downtown LA, but they started off. I mean, a lot of those food vendors, the hot dog vendors down there, we saw them one night when we were partying down there, and we thought to ourselves, we can do this. So I got a hold of Al Gilpin. They call him Geezy. Can look him up. He does a lot of artwork and stuff for Harleys. Like I said, I brought it to him and I told him, I said, "Hey man, I need I need wiener on my cart." Um, and that's what it was. Eat my wiener. He put it on there, and I the rest is history. I guess this is what we're doing. There was no turning back after that. So I'm just been going with it. Just, what you see.
Well, isn't that something, man? Just to have that kind of a connection, and LA, it's known for the vending business, right? There's a lot of, food trucks and a lot of dog trucks and all of that type of stuff. Can you talk to us just to start off a little bit about what was the business process for you? Getting the licenses, getting the, understanding the codes and understanding all of the inspections. Explain a little bit to us about how you started that process once you start going.
Right. So once we first started, I didn't know what to expect. I was just doing it. You know, obviously there's certain health codes that have to be met, and over the years, we got in trouble with the city, and they they told us no, you can't do that, and so we had to go back to the drawing board. Um, we got incorporated into, I believe it was San Bernardino 2019. So the process basically is you have to go through the county, you have to get your health permit, um, and you go through an inspection process. They want to make sure that you have certain things in line, to make sure that you're serving food safely to the public. Um, so first, I went through the county, got that permit. Second is through the city. City's a little harder, only because their requirements for insurances and things of that nature are a little more. Um, but but it was all a process. Once it started going, it kind of just goes on its own. You know, um, that's pretty much the process. Going through the county first, and then going through the city, and then going through your insurances and making sure everything's in line and everything is you know up to date.
Yeah, that is a big part of, we try to get this information out to, people that are listening, because they're sitting on the couch trying to figure out, okay, what is it that I can learn from, you and try to understand the business process. And one of the things that I like to know, because I'm from the country and we stuff our own sausages, we grind the meat up and do all that. How do you go about selecting your hot dogs? What is one of the things that you look for when you're trying to promote your business, or is it just a matter of it's not so much the dog, it's just the way you have the business set up?
No, no, we do also go through like a food process. We try to use really good quality meat. It's all beef, 100%. Uh, Actually, our main quarter pound hot dog is kosher. Uh, Believe it or not, it is the Costco dog. So if you guys are out there and you love your Costco hot dogs, that's what it is. We had about four different hot dogs when we were first starting the business, and for some reason, people just love the Kirkland brand hot dog. So we've stuck with that and incorporated it into what we sell, and just trying to give the people the best quality hot dog we can get. You know,
Yeah, that's one of those things that I can appreciate because when you're saying the best quality hot dog, I am, you know, I like hot dogs. So tell me about what's your favorite. What are one of the things that doing all these different combinations of making the dogs over the years, and then again, also how many years you've been in the business. What have you found to be like, man? You know what? I don't care, but I love the way I do this dog.
you know, when I eat that hot dog, it does remind me of my childhood. And when I my motto is spreading love and happiness, one wiener at a time. And what brings me happiness is my childhood. So I want to give that to everybody that I serve, and seeing them smile and maybe having a piece of that makes me happy. So I mean, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, that is one of those things that we all know about, man. Going around get that dog, and whether you had a baseball game or whether you with your family out there grilling and all of those things as well, they all play a role into our memory. So it's just something that's consistent. So I'm going to pass it over to Razak and let him ask you a few questions now.
Okay. Okay. Uh, man, a lot going on. A lot going on. Uh, okay. So yeah, you said you started with four styles of hot dogs or whatever. Is one of your styles of hot dog reflected of your attitude or your personality?
We have this new hot dog. It's called the waffle dog, and I think that reflects a little bit about my nature. I want to be different, and maybe stand out a little bit sometimes. But yeah, the waffle dog, that was a good creation between me and my family, because the waffle dog reminds me too of my childhood. I don't know if you guys ever had Jiffy cornbread, but that's what me and my family have every year for Thanksgiving. You know, just a plain Jiffy cornbread. It tastes the best. We love it, and we were like, how do we make this on a hot dog, or how do we make this or how do we combine this? So me, my wife, and my kids, we were playing around with some recipes, and we were able to create a waffle corn dog from the Jiffy Corn Mill. It's also a Kirkland hot dog. It's an 100% all beef dog. It's the smaller version of them, and we have a waffle griddle iron, and we smother it in the Jiffy cornbread, and we put it on the griddle for about 2 minutes, and you have a Jiffy cornbread uh, hot dog. There you go.
Considering that it's a hot dog vendor business, how do you stay up to date with the latest food trends and techniques of preparing the hot dogs?
I'm really connected with the community, the foodies, and the promoters in the community, and they have a lot of input on what we do. So, some of my good friends from What's Up Riverside, What's Up Inland Empire, the Hood Foodie, uh, I love to promote. All those guys are a val or a vi- how do you say it? A vital part of how I stay relevant in terms of what's trending. I believe they'll let me know. They'll tell me, and if I got a hit, they'll be like, "Hey, this is it, man." And that's I kind of rely. Well, I do rely on them. I do rely on them a lot, and they help out with that. So that's how we stay, I guess, relevant.
Okay. Okay. Is there any I know there's, we're coming into the word of technology and AI and all these different things. Is there any kind of, how should I say, I can't even say the word. Is there any kind of technology that is used to prepare, or that you just overall use when you're running your business to effectively market and or cook the food?
The marketing is mostly social media marketing. We do a lot of it on our Instagram, and through the foodie promoters that we deal with. Um, and a lot of it sometimes is good old fashioned, just talking to people. Um, I honestly I prefer that more than anything, because you're able to get part of my personality out of it. And um, I know there's a lot of AI stuff coming out. I'm not too familiar with a lot of it. I'm kind of open to all that, but I let part of my marketing team take care of that. Uh, if it's in the budget and I can do it, I'll do it. I'll do it. Right now, we've been sticking to a lot of uh, more shows and events. We used to be out on the street a lot. Now we're just, you know, doing events, catering, uh, parties, private parties, business parties, things of that nature. Uh, it's it seems to be really popular with the women in their 30s. Believe it or not, the dirty 30s, for some reason they love it. So we've been doing a lot of those parties lately.
Man. Okay, so given, I believe you just said you was in business for 7 years. So we looked, I would imagine, from your where you started to now and your advancement in your growth of your business. What do you say is the most important aspect of running a successful food business or vendor business?
I'm still trying to be successful. You know what? This is a project of love, and I don't know where I've heard it, but if you do what you love, it feels like it's not work. And I have a passion for it, and I just love doing it. And I think if you can find something that you love to do, it's not really work. It's just something that's part of you. And maybe that's the best thing I could say or think of right now in terms of success. You know, I measure success not by what's in my pocket, but the character of who I am and what I want to be. So that's how I measure my success, I guess.
Okay, no, that's damn good answer. Damn good answer. Um, now you say you're traveling, you're doing events and shows and stuff like that. Can you share with us a food related travel experience that has influenced your cooking or just made you say, yeah, this is, what I mean, I'm doing the right thing. This is the path I need to take.
You know what? You said path. That's really resonated with me a lot. In my past, I've done things like I was a programmer for an aerospace company for about 13 years, and um, it really felt monotonous. And doing this, the path that I'm on, it almost feels effortless. And when I am serving people, I could feel it in my heart. Like I see people happy and they smile. That I'm smiling inside. Trust me. I feel just as much of enjoyment out of making them happy. Vice versa. It goes both ways. And I believe in God. That's always there for me. So I feel like when I'm on the right path and I'm serving God, no matter where I'm at, whether if I'm at an event or out in the street or wherever it is, for s- I know it's God. When I'm doing the right thing and I'm on that path, I could feel it resonate in my body. I feel it. I don't know how else to say it. I just feel it. So um,
No?
that that's kind of like been my guiding light, you know, in whatever I'm doing. And if I'm not feeling that, then I think I got to get back to that. If that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. A lot of people, resonate with a calling or being a vessel to deliver a message. You know what I mean? And through their business is the best way to do it. You know, you're interacting with people. That's the best way to reach people. You know, they hungry, they got to
Yeah.
sit down there and wait for it to get cooked. You know what I mean? And you're entertaining as they're waiting. You know what I mean? No, that's good. Okay, so can you tell us a time, and this is from the time that you started to up until today, can you tell us about a time when you had to overcome a challenge or an obstacle in your food career, and how did you do it?
Oh yes. So we were in business for like 3 years, I think, before the pandemic happened, and we're doing fairly good. You know, we're at a few locations that we started building clientele, and we were getting recognized from some some good names. And as everybody knows, and 2020 hit and everything got shut down. Uh, it almost felt like, man, the air was let out of my balloon, and it almost felt like a death in some ways. You know, I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to get it back. The passion, the momentum, the amount of effort that it took to keep it going. I had found other work doing something else, and I was kind of losing track of the hot dog business. And the way I think I overcame it was actually through some of the people that recognized me from the past. You know, I started working as a security guard downtown Riverside, and people from Pomona and things of that nature would come by, and they recognized me, like, the wiener dude. They look at, you're the wiener dude, and I'd say, yeah, I'm the wiener guy. And they're like, what's going on? Where's the hot dogs, man? What's going on? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing this, and I think it was the disappointment I saw in their faces that, you know, turned turned everything around. And I was like, you know what am I doing? I have to get back on my path. I got to get back to it. You know, the finances and things of that nature obviously kept me back from, getting back to it right away. Right after the pandemic, I had another business as a trainer. I had to let go of that. It was self defense training. So there was a financial aspect that held me back for that few years. I was trying to get back on my feet. Um, as little by little I started progressing. I started uh, looking into maybe getting a small loan. I was able to acquire some money. I picked up the bigger hot dog cart that you see now today. Um, I redid my LLC. Um, I got insurance. I incorporated into Riverside County. Um, so it little by little it progressed. It took me 5 months to get the actual permit. Believe it or not, man, that is a process. That is a process. I put a solar generator onto my hot dog cart. I believe it's the only one in Riverside County. And the process of going back and forth with inspectors, it could take a little while. So I didn't know that. So that was how I overcame my what would you call it? My overcoming of taking a little dive for a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot. I always like to hear the journey that you guys go through from the creation of your business to even having the thought process or whatever inspired you to have the business, and then actually seeing it through, and then all these different obstacles or these hurdles you have to jump over. And it shows that your determination, and you said it best right there when you said as people were like, and they were like, well, hey, I mean, where's the hot dogs at? And that lets you know that the path that you was on at that time and what you was doing, I mean, it reflected in the people who ate your food. I mean, they enjoyed it. They were cheering you on, and that was something that was needed. And I think we're missing a lot of that in today's society because everything's, we're looking at everything we drive down the street and we see all these big name brands, the usual ones that's been here for years. You can grow up when you was a kid. They had Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's, or Jack in the Box. They're always there, but it seems like they're put in place as the only things that have grown or whatever. Expanded. But then that tends to have us look over, the other places. I mean, they have a Winter Stencils, but so it's like I can see that your place of business, even though it's at a cart, is better than going to a 20, 30-year business that's been in existence. It's what's known that drives people to go through there. So I like this. I like the podcast in this sense. It's at least the people know that there are other alternatives to what they just normally see driving down the street, and we're bringing this to your attention of where to go to. And with that, can you tell us about a food related tradition or ritual that you have in your personal life?
My wife is big on Thanksgiving, so Thanksgiving in our household is a number one tradition. Um, we all get around and we all partake in the turkey and the and from greens to, and you name it, we have it all. We even have a lot of Mexican side dishes, enchiladas for my sisters. So Thanksgiving has always been a tradition that in our family has been. I'd say it's right up there with Christmas. So food is always a big thing in our house. It's always been number one. So yeah, that's what we've been working on.
Okay. Okay. What would you say is the now in making your dishes, creating your hot dogs? Okay, it's a hot dog, it's a bun, and you gotta throw a whole bunch of different things on these, and people are liking what you're creating. So what would be the weirdest food combination you've ever tried that people surprisingly just said, okay, well that was a hit?
On the cornbread, they like the syrup. I don't know if it's that weird. I like it. Um, we get a lot of requests for um, hot stuff. At first we did the Cheeto hot dog. So the Cheeto dog, uh, I didn't know what to expect out of it. Honestly, I didn't try it. It was a request. Um, we put it together in 2018, and people seem to like it. Uh, we've had requests back for it, but the number one hot dog I think people are really enjoying right now is going to be the LA style hot dog with the grilled onions, and then the waffle dog that we created. So the waffle dog was actually that was a funny one. I didn't know what to expect with that, but people really seem to enjoy it, and I think it was pretty good. I think it's pretty good. So I'd be the waffle dog.
So that's a hot dog on a waffle with syrup on it.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
more.
that's different, man. That's
It's more than that. It's not a hot dog on a waffle with syrup. It's a hot dog encased in a
Yeah.
waffle. That's the
oh,
word.
that's what you had, right? Oh, you had that, right?
Encased in a
Hmm.
waffle with the syrup on it. So
What
it
do you
has.
think?
I thought it was great, man. I was eating that thing and I was trying to film at the same time. I told my sister, I can't do it. I need to eat this right now and finish it. And I just stick away, man. That was it. I was like, I threw that stick away. I'm done. And then, I was
Mm.
tired and hot because we had just left church and we came there and I was like, man, I can't. I was talking to my sister. I said, then I was telling her I read the whole, card and, happy, and I was trying to tell my sister. Then I start thinking, wrong conversation. That wasn't a good conversation. Maybe we should just keep moving on. You know what I mean? Can't be making everybody happy, especially with the wholesale. I was like, I gotta cut that conversation, man, real quick. Yeah, I was talking about this stuff, and then next day, I told Razak. I mean, later that afternoon, he's like, "Oh, eat my wiener." I was like, "Yeah." And I brought him the hat, and then he read the back end. Oh, I said, you know what? You know, spreading happiness and joy. I said it all wrong, one wiener at a time. And he was like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah, man, this is it." But I really love the whole attitude, about, around not only the name, the culture that you're building with the people that you're talking to, and how they take it on their own and establish some sort of meaning for it, right? Because it's a hot dog, right? You can do all kinds of things, but it's the name, it's the hot dog, and it's your the way you advertise what it means, right? Happiness. So it just has so much to everybody. So I like to ask you this, what are some of the people that you like, that you're serving this hot dog that's done some crazy stuff with the imagery and thought in their mind from your logo and the way you carry your product?
Oh, for some reason the wieners are popular with the ladies. So you can only imagine what some of these women have done with the hot dogs. Um,
Oh,
you know, I couldn't have imagined myself unless I would have saw it. So, if you go on the Instagram, it's all there for everybody to see. Um, we had one time we had a wiener challenge. I think if you ate, I think it was 5 hot dogs, you get the wiener slayer sword. And part of our branding, I believe, is trying to incorporate the customers and making them feel like they're part of what we're trying to do. Because obviously, we can't even be relevant without having people around us, and they pay the bills. So what we like to do most of the time is when they get a hot dog and they enjoy it, we'll take a picture with them. We'll put them next to the hot dog cart. Um, and you can imagine, you can go from there. If you look up on the internet, you can see, you know, people holding hot dogs, and you, I'm sure you guys get the picture, right?
Yeah,
So
man, that's shoot. That's and what it really shows is that the branding that you're establishing is connecting, right? Is that you're connecting with all the people that's so important, man. Because a lot of people spend a lot of money, a lot of different ways to figure out how to brand their product. Yes, it's the name and everything, but branding it with people so that they know, just like the guy you're saying, oh, you're the hot dog guy. Why does he know that? Not just because of the hot dog, it's because of the person, it's because of the way you did it, the communication, the way you served it, all of those other things are why you became memorable to that person. So, and I think that is such a powerful thing that you're interacting with different people. Just by me going on the Instagram a little bit myself, seeing the interaction that you have with people. Can you talk a little bit about the foodies and what does that do? How does that? Is it a marketing agency? Is it people that you're dealing with out there in the community that helps you to get to certain events? How is your relationship with foodies and what is that about?
yeah, our relationship with the foodies is really important because they've they have a real big influence in the food culture and in Riverside and all of Southern California. So we really try to extend our hands to them and let them know our appreciation, and we invite them to events that we go to, and sometimes they'll show up, sometimes they won't, but um, they've been a they've been a big help. A friend of mine, Andrew, and I've named a few of them. Uh, they've really extended themselves, and they've really. I believe that a lot of them understand the importance of a relationship, um, and I like that. I like that. I like building the relationships because you know, with relationships comes with, um, I think, long term wealth. So I think of relationships, and that's how I look at business. I don't look at it as like a one night stand. You know, I like to build a relationship, and I think building relationships with the right people is key to trying to build some kind of long term wealth.
Right. Right.
I think you're
Mhm.
right there, man. You know, the biggest word there, is relationships, right? Because that's what we're trying to build here at the podcast. And even with the people that we go and try to bring on the show, is it's not just the one night stand, right? We're trying to make sure that you're constantly being looked at, seen through our podcast, because this is a network of building something. It's not just something for one interview or anything like that. So that is a big part of what we're trying to do as well. And I can appreciate you making that statement, because that's an important part of small business, right? Because that's really the only thing we have in entrepreneurship and small business is those relationships, and the ones that we pick that are ones that's going to help us, and we're on the same page as try to benefit our community and help each other and help our family. And so one of the questions I have is a little bit regarding family. Can you talk a little bit about your family, mom, your dad, your wife, just a little bit of how you got all of that, spark to be the kind of person you are today, and not only in your business, but just in your life in general.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny you say that. I think the biggest influence as far as entrepreneurship has been my mother, believe it or not. Sandy Valencia. She's no longer with us, but her spirit's in my heart. And and growing up, my mom was a preschool teacher. She owned her own uh, daycare facility for many years. She was on the, I believe, the city board uh, back in late '90s, and seeing my mom's attitude and the way she treat people has really had an effect on me as an adult. And I've had a mentor in my life. Um, with business, a good friend of mine. His name is Ed Hoffman. Um, he's had a good influence on me. As far as my personal life with my family, my wife is a key part of all my success. She really supports me. I know there's been times where I just haven't had time for her, and she's there for me. And I believe having that support in your family and them understanding that I can't always be there, um, but they know I'm doing this for them. So having that really makes a difference in my life. It helps me keep going, forward. So yeah, I think that's from my mom to my friends to my family. It all comes full circle.
Yeah, I could appreciate that, man, because in our life, we need to recognize, even all of us out there as entrepreneurs, that sometimes that entrepreneur spirit is not always recognized by everybody in the family. Not everybody rides along this ship. Sometimes it's just you, because it's your dream, it's your idea. You see it, so it's kind of and it's not to say that you don't want to have time for family or do these types of things, but you know what it's taking to get there, and sometimes that requires a little sacrifice that hopefully people can understand in the family. And I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk about that, because that's what we need to be able to let our viewers know, is that even though this is a struggle for the entrepreneurial and the entrepreneurial spirit, you may have it sacrifices as well. It's not just a pretty scene that you got a dream and you just gonna do it. Somebody's gonna suffer along the way in your dream. So having that communication and having that power and that strength in your family is so important. So I thank you for letting our viewers know about that as well. One of the other questions I have is regarding kind of like some of the people you ran across, right? In this business of going out to these vending events and all of that, what are some of the other people that you ran across through there that surprised you that they showed up at your hot dog stand?
Yeah, we've had a few celebrities. You know, a friend of mine named Mac Lucci from the Dog Pound showed up, and I'm still in communication with him. Uh, he's on my Instagram, and we go back and forth from time to time. That was a surprise. Another surprise was Two Live Crew. They came out to the hot dog stand, had my wiener. Uh, they're great. You know, their team is amazing. They're always traveling. Uh, we're in contact with them. You know what? You know what's most amazing? Not just the people that are celebrities and things of that nature. It's it's really seeing the smiles on people's faces. You know, the everyday person, the person. You know, you give them. You know, they come up. Maybe they're not so happy, and then you give them a dog, and their whole day lights up. You know, their smile, they're happy, they're and you know what, that to me I think means more than anything. It's just seeing people, you know, happy. That's it.
Yeah, I think that that's you're right because I used to have a restaurant years ago, and making someone happy when you cook is the ultimate thanks, and it's like whoa man, they actually love what I just did, and you almost gotta walk away and turn around and hide your face because you're like
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
I gotta
yeah,
hide my face because I don't want to show them that, oh, it's this business, hey, But man, I'm over there like, oh my God, look at this. I knew I was doing it. This is a good reason why I'm doing it. So, man, I know. Tell me about that feeling, though. I'm just curious, a little bit about, talk about that feeling of having that, that thanks and appreciation.
you know, I guess it always goes back to my spirituality, who I am as a person, and my beliefs in God, and that feeling. So you know, when I how would you say it? I believe it. The spirit of God is in everybody, right? So when somebody smiles and they're happy, I did something. It's almost as if in my heart, I believe God is, you know, giving me the okay, the thumbs up. You did right. Good job. Keep going. Uh, so for me, that's where it comes from. I believe that's where it is.
Man, that's where it's supposed to be, right? Because I think you say an important thing is that record is that be recognized from the heavens above that you're on the right path, and that alone is a definitely thing to be smiling and thankful for because that is the ultimate approval of what you're doing. So I'm glad that you have that connection because that is a lot to a lot of people don't understand, and for you to be able to make that connection to not only yourself but what you're doing is an important thing. So I'm going to have one more question. I'm going to pass it back to Razak. I guess I would like to just talk a little bit about like your hobbies and stuff. What are some of the things you do outside of making the dogs and being a dad and being a husband and all those things that gives you joy?
Yeah, when I have time, I feel kind of guilty because I used to do a lot more for myself, but I play a lot of paddleball and racquetball at my local gym here in Riverside over at the tournament house. Uh, that's something that I find joyful. Uh, I used I used to, believe it or not, I used to train jujitsu and MMA, and I was competing in that sport in my early 20s, all the way up to my 30s, maybe 32, 31. So you know, my time that I have for myself isn't as much as it used to be before. But when I get time, I like to enjoy a good game of paddleball. That's that's been a thing in my life for the last, say, like 10 years. No, maybe 7 years, 7 or 10 years, something like that. Um, you know, and I like to cook for my family, so that's what I like and enjoy doing on my own.
Well, cooking for your family, man, that's a lot of work, man, because not everybody, you got to please everybody at the same time, and nothing like, I don't know like you, but I cook and then sometimes like, man, you guys constantly want me to cook now that you see what you're tasting. Now, you always want me to cook it because it tastes good. It's like, I'm not going to cook. What you cooking? What you cooking? So I know as a cook and someone like that, I'm sure you're getting that like, hey, you know what? Dad, are you cooking tonight?
Yeah.
Oh
You know?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
wish I could
yeah,
cook from every night, but
yeah.
my
Man.
wife's an amazing cook too. Trust me, she really helps out, and I'm just grateful to have her around.
Hmm.
My man,
Hmm.
my man, my man.
Can you share with us a food related memory or experience that you have had that taught you a valuable lesson about yourself?
Man, that's a good one, huh? Oh, you know, hmm, what I could say is this: I went through an experience in my life back in 2013 where I was going through some chemical exposure and things of that nature, and this was from that previous job I was telling you about, and I had to shift directions. But what it taught me about food was, I'm not sure if you know about chemical exposure, but if you've been exposed to certain chemicals, you can't. You sometimes you get like an allergic reaction with food, right? So um, I really had to focus in on my health back then, and what it taught me was um, the respect for certain foods that I was eating, and not realizing that some of those foods were creating some allergic reactions that I was having. I really had to pick what was good for me, you know. Um,
Mm.
and also, what it taught me too was I never really blessed my food, believe it or not. And now I know it sounds crazy, but I will bless my food and literally say thank you to the food before I eat it, and
Hmm.
that's given me an appreciation for I guess food in general. Not taking it for granted, and just appreciating everything we have here.
Okay. Okay. Um, all right. Let me ask you this then. How how do you handle cultural appreciation in your cooking or your menu development? And this is if it applies. I mean, some people not always go into making their thing for culturally. Like, hey, I'm from such and such nationality, so my food reflects that. I know it's a hot dog, but do you still incorporate into your ingredients or the way you prepare it or the way you come up with your dishes in a cultural sense?
Yeah, like so culturally speaking, I'm from Mexican descent, so I still have a lot of that. Um, I like the spice. You know, I love the spice. So we'll still have jalapenos in there. Um, I think I was just talking to Keith when I saw him last about adding jalapenos inside of the corn dog. So part of that comes out in my cooking. Also, the cultural thing is, I'm trying to develop a culture with my food. So I like to, collectively incorporate other people's what they want. So a lot of times it's asking the people that are coming to the hot dog stand what they prefer, what they like, and we try to provide you know that and building our own culture within the business, of our customers and what they prefer. And they'll tell us too on the internet, when let's say we go out to a new spot and we want to introduce a different kind of food item. We do a lot of the polling. And believe it or not, they'll tell us like, "Oh, this is great," or "No, we don't like that." So we always try to stay up on in that trend to try to provide food for the culture that we're trying to build.
What are some of the things that you would like to do in terms of a bucket list that you and this could be food related, it could be your life related that you would like to do in the near future, and how are you going to go about achieving some of these things?
Yeah. So me and my wife were talking the other day, and we were doing that that what was it? We did the DNA test. I forgot which one it was, but it kind of tells you about like where you're from, where your ancestors are from, and all that. And I said, wouldn't it be unique and wouldn't it be great to one day, visit every culture that's made me, and this is all the way from the Americas to the European part of it. Um, there's there's a lot of different. I didn't realize how much stuff I was mixed with until I took that DNA test, and it breaks it down in percentages. So I think a bucket list would be to try to visit every place that kind of makes up me. Maybe try their food. See what the different flavors of the different foods from different cultures and things of that nature. See what kind of influence that can make on me. That would be great. I think that would be something I would love to do before I die.
Wow,
Okay,
wow,
okay,
wow, wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot going on right there. Is there any Okay, let me ask you this, because sometimes we don't always get this type of question in, but is there any favorite books, movies, or music that has inspired in your dishes, or just drives you in general when you're creating your dishes, or just going through business?
Yeah. Oh yes. I'm not much of reading the book, but I do a lot of what is it called? Audiobooks. I do a lot of audiobooks, and the books that come to my mind, believe it or not, it has nothing to do with selling, even though it says the the greatest salesman in the world. It's by Og Mandino. He's got these scribes that he talks about, and the scribe that always pops out to me is the scribe of love. You know, it talks about how to use it in your business, how to be a good person, and that's basically what it is. It's has nothing to do with selling, just how to be a better person. And so that's one book. I'd say the next one is Richest Man in Babylon. Um, I think that's a great book. Also, another one is I like Matthew McConaughey's book. He's got a book about it's called Green Light, and the way he describes some of the things in his book, I relate to on a day to day. So that book really resonates with me. One other book that I'll probably throw out there is Jordan Peterson has a book. I think it was his first one. You know, 12 Rules for Life. That's been had an impact on me. Um, and one one thing that I've been really into lately is Stoic. Marcus Aurelius. He didn't write a book, but he has a lot of quotes and things of that nature that I take to heart. You know, um, I think when I'm having a hard time and I'm going through things, I'll I'll look at those quotes, and it kind of puts me on the path. It helps me get back to what I need to be doing. You know, sometimes I think we get caught up in everyday life and we think about the things that like might bother you or something of that nature, and when you program your head and you're programming your mind into these things, it gets easier to get past those hurdles. So those are the things I I tend to go towards when I'm like having a hard time or I need to get my life back. I always go back to those books.
Do you have a go to music? Well, as you okay, so say like you're out there cooking at an event or even before that you was cooking on the block and having people walk by and getting customers that way. Is there a go to music that you had or any type of sales approach that you have used?
I
Hmm.
getting attention is one of the key things, I guess, when you're on the block because you got so much competition. So for me, it wouldn't be a surprise if you might see me on the bullhorn from time to time, telling people to come get their wiener. You know, that's been an approach that I've used. The music, uh, I always try to play trendy music for some reason. It does attract people. Top hits and even oldies, and I kind of have a big array of different kinds of music. Even James Brown, and I like everything. I like all of it. You know, if it sounds good and it looks good, it might taste good too. Who knows?
I hear that. I hear that. Let me ask you this. Yeah, that's so
Okay.
you're doing a lot of things. So I mean, you're telling us about the history of your jobs and stuff like that. I guess those teachings that you've learned through the other jobs and other people that that you know have intertwined and made you a better marketer and advertiser for your own business, right? So, what advice do you have for individuals seeking a career growth within getting into the same business that you are, and that's a food vendor business, not necessarily hot dogs, but in a food vending business.
So this is what I tell my kids, and this is what I tell people that some kids I've mentored or helped in the past. I always say, like, because I played a lot of sports in my life, and I always look at business in the same principles as like baseball or something of that nature. And what's always resonated with me is like my dad and my coaches would always tell me, I can bet you 100% of the time that if you don't swing the bat, you'll always strike out. So my approach to anything in my life is what Nike says, just do it. Like if that's something you like to do and it's something you want to do, I can guarantee 100% of the time if you don't swing the bat, you're going to lose. So swing the bat, and whether you hit a home run or you don't, you're one step closer to success.
Right. Right. Hmm. Okay. Okay. I can see that. I can see that.
100% thing. Ain't no sense of sitting around. Ain't no sense of sitting on the couch. So,
I know you said you had met a couple of people, but is there? Can you share a story about how a professional connection positively impacted your career?
Let's see. I was talking about my good friend Ed Hoffman. He has a radio show, and he's a mortgage real estate guy, and I was training him for about 5 years, and sometimes I think he was training me, to be honest with you. But he's had a large impact on my business frame of mind and how I look at business. Before I was, and I was doing business, not knowing what to expect, but I think he's kind of helped put me in a path that I think is taught me some things as a businessman that maybe I wouldn't have done otherwise. So I think he's had an impact on my life. Um, and I just want to say thank you, Ed, for helping me see some things when I didn't want to see those things, and I knew you had my best interests at heart. So yeah, Mr. Ed Hoffman.
Give him a shout out. Give him a shout out. Okay.
I think that's perfect, man. When you start thinking about
Mhm.
people in your life, mentors and things like that that help you through a lot of things and just kind of help you see the light, because we get so just stuck in our own ways of understanding things, stuck in our own ways of what we see, so we don't really see the arrows of things that could be changed our ways. And that's an important thing, and it kind of leads me to this question because I think you hit on it a small bit. But every time we talk to somebody in this um, podcast and dealing with entrepreneurship and the risk and all of that, we like to ask this question. I know it's a little hard, but I'm going to say that in advance. And it's mental health, right? Because we as men, we don't talk about mental health. And everybody that we've had on the show have kind of had their own way of dealing with mental health. So we like to be open here. And can you talk a little bit about whether you experienced that or understand that or know people about that, or the importance of making sure you are open to recognizing your health in that way?
Oh yeah, of course. Um, Mental health to me is very important. I think without your mind, you don't have anything, right? Um, your health is your wealth. Mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. So uh, I've had some impact. I mean, and mental health has impacted me. My oldest daughter is going through some mental health issues. Her her mother has dealt with it, and it's part of my life now. Um, so it's really close to my heart when you do say that. My wife actually uh, was in mental health as far as working for the county of Riverside, and we've always tried to help out our community. Um, a lot of people that are homeless on the street that don't have the mental capacity to take care of themselves. We always try to give them food. One, I'd say one thing I'm doing for myself though, personally, when I wake up in the morning, I have a routine. What I do is I do the sauna. I come home, I do my massage chair, and I take some time for myself and I meditate and I pray. Um, you know, that's a very important part of my life. I notice when I don't do those things, uh, a lot of things bother me mentally. So in order for me to be right in my mind, I have to let go of all the things that are overwhelming at times, especially as an entrepreneur. There's a lot of things out of our control, and learning how to let go of those things, I think, is what helps your mental health. So I would say if you want to go down the path of the entrepreneurial path, you know, build a routine for yourself that I think you can use as a way to help you clear your mind mentally, you know, mentally, spiritually, and physically. That's how I deal with that, and that's kind of been my journey along the way.
Man, I really want to thank you for taking the time to, share that, because it's the most important part of the show, because it helps to set the foundation for all of us to understand the importance of the entrepreneurial business, the risk, but the mental health and all of those things, because you can't um, you can't stay focused on your dream and the things that you want to do in your business if your mental health is blown all over the place and you don't have no way, like you talked about. I really thank you for having a routine, having a way to address it, a way to at least put yourself in a better position to deal with whatever's coming your way. Because we can't, we can't say that we're not going to be affected by something. We will be affected by something. And the thing is, how we deal with it, what do we have in place, and how we can get out of it to get ourselves in a position to move forward. And I think by you talking about that, man, your family and having that. I think that that is, I appreciate it. And thank you so much for that. This podcast is, it's about trying to understand all of those things we go through as an entrepreneur and business owner. And so I appreciate that. And my next question would be along the line of legacy. And I like you to talk about what, you've got the hot dog business, you've been working a lot, in your career about, trying to establish a work. What is that legacy like for you? What do you see your legacy, and what have you learned about legacy through family and whatnot that you want to be able to pass down now?
You know, my legacy, I leave it up to God and whatever direction He wants me to go. Um, I hope that what I leave behind is something my children could build off of, and my grandchildren. I I'm doing this from a place in my heart that I love, and I hope that can resonate with somebody. That whether it stays in the family, which I would love that to be possible, or even somebody that comes along and sees the value in it and wants to make it part of their life. Maybe they can incorporate the culture and the things that I love, that has made this business, in my mind, successful, emotionally and spiritually. So I guess maybe that would be the best thing I would like to leave as far as legacy, if that's even possible.
Yeah, it's all possible, brother. That's for sure. It's all possible. It's on you, and everybody that thinks about that. And what's great about what you're talking about is that you have thought about it. You have some cognizance of the fact of what you want your family to be able to experience from you. The work you put in, whether they take it or not or do anything, but that you're working for them to be able to have something, that you can pass down. Whether it's just your words or the way your mannerism or whatever it is that they can pull from you and move forward in life. Even just the fact that you're talking about in the beginning, how God plays a role in that. And I think that is something that a lot of people will resonate with, because if God is first in your life, then you're going to always be able to move forward in a positive way. And you've shown that through not only this conversation we're having, but just in the fact of the different people you've met out there. So let me ask you, how do you predict your business? What do you see your business like in 4 or 5 years? What are some of the things that you're thinking, man, in a couple of years, boy, this hot dog stand is gonna be a truck. It's gonna be out there with all kinds of dogs. It's gonna be the dog, it's gonna be the love dog truck.
um, I got some things in the works right now. uh, there's something that I how would you say it? I don't really want to say a lot about what's going on and the goals, only because I'd rather talk about it when it happens. I've noticed sometimes when I talk too much, it just doesn't happen. I, I can't tell you why, but uh, how about this? You guys just tune in, follow me on my Instagram, and as things progress and they come into fruition, you will know.
My man, suspense. Look at that suspense off the top. Look at this, baby. Just keep on watching, and you're
Just
gonna
keep on watching.
so you matter of fact, you're gonna need a bigger screen for your TV because stuff is so wide and big. You at just
uh,
matter of fact, you need to go buy a new TV. Just tell them that. Just go get you whatever TV
mm,
size you got. Go get a new one because that ain't big enough for what's getting ready to happen. And
mm,
that's crazy. So I was gonna say what's a life lesson, but I think we may have covered it somewhat. But I'm curious. What's a life lesson, man, that you've learned over since these years you've been walking on this beautiful earth?
Never take anything for granted. Be grateful from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed. Um, understand that everything is happening for you and not to you, even the things that you may not like and you may not understand. Because I truly believe everything happens for a reason. And in my heart, it's taken me about 43 years to really embrace that. And I'm still trying to embrace that every day of my life. So, if I had anything to say, I think it would be, this is what I say every day when I talk to somebody when they ask me, "How are you doing?" I always say, "I'm always good, even when I'm bad."
Okay, it's a
Wow,
little philosophy right there, huh?
that's a great statement, man, because that's for
Hmm.
that's something that my next question, and I'm passing to the Zach, is important, um, for our youth. We got the youth out there, and you were talking about helping people on the street and things like that. Where there's more people that are on the streets than ever before, trying to try in families and youth. So, what are some of the things that you can say to try to give them some uplifting and encouragement through not only your experience in life, but just some of the things that you've seen, and that you can just say, you know what, things can be will be better, or what would be your advice?
Yeah, I think a lot of young men today are having a lot of difficulties with our culture and how things have changed over the years, and it's easy to, I think, as a young man. I always say young men because you know uh, uh, the divorce rates and things of that nature, and I see a lot of young men growing up without fathers, and I think that probably hurts me the most. So what I'll say to the young gentlemen and the young men out there is that don't get discouraged. You know, um, if you put your mind towards your heart, you know things will get better. Um, Try to lead with your heart. Try to understand, like I said, life is happening for you, not to you. Everything is learning and winning. That's all it is. You're either going to learn something or you're going to win something. So if you learn something, that is still an opportunity to get better at whatever it is you're doing. Um, don't get discouraged. You know, get up, keep moving forward. That's what God wants for you. God is right by your side. He's your biggest cheerleader, and as long as you put God in your heart first, in whatever you do, I think you're going to be a success.
Okay,
That's
that's good.
powerful, and thank you, man, for that, because the youth is so important to us, and that's an important part of creating generational wealth, is making sure our youth are is part of the game, and basically on the field. Not sitting on the bench, but on the field, and trying to help us, do that. So, again, thank you. I'm gonna pass these few minutes off to Razak, and then have him ask his last questions for you.
Yeah, man. Um, Let me ask you this right here. I've been wondering, man, because I mean, the name of your business is Eat My Wiener. So what would be the funniest joke or something that a customer has approached you with about your business name?
The name itself. I've had people say, "I want to eat your wiener." It's still hard to keep a straight face when you hear it. It's just a catchy name, and it's funny. Uh, it's more of a novelty thing, and that's what I'm just kind of going with. It's a funny thing. People have asked me to branch off into doing other things, and there's been talks of maybe just keeping the LLC name, which is EMW, and trying to expand the business, so that I can reach a bigger demographic. And that is always a possibility. Um, but it is funny, and I like to see people laugh. So I've kept the name. Um, maybe I'll do a DBA later and give it another name and branch off into other things. I don't know, but um, it's just hearing people come up to the hot dog stand and say, "Hey, I want to eat your wiener."
That just sounds so crazy to me. It just
That's
sounds so crazy.
crazy, man. That's
Yeah,
crazy. Shit.
the name itself is
Oh
just
my God,
crazy,
just the name alone, just well, hey,
man.
'cause I don't
But
want
but
I
okay
have
now.
to death here.
Yeah, now this is on the flip side though. Have you had controversy or some kind of dispute or argument about the name? And somebody said like, hey, they gave you some hassle about the name.
Oh yeah, I think you're going to get negative feedback no matter what you do. And to me, I embrace it all, man. I'll tell you a story. I was downtown once, and a woman of I think it was maybe the lesbian community. I don't think she was too happy with the name. She came by, and I remember she gave us a really bad look, and said something along the nature of like, "How dare you?" or something like that. And I just looked at her. I said, "Hey, ain't no thing but a wiener thing."
Oh man.
You out there creating controversy, man. In the LGBTQ community, you better cut that out, man.
Because I was wondering that because I know you had said some people are embrace it, they think it's funny, but I was wondering that. I know there's probably people who would start like, oh, what I mean, like probably just their mind just wouldn't let them accept that this is a comical thing. It's a name that it's more a joyful thing, and they just took it in the negative atmosphere. They put that negativity into it. I was wondering if that happened too, and
You know what?
and
One thing that has came to mind is when I was getting the name made, I had to go submit the paperwork to the city and the county. And believe it or not, the people at the county, they loved the name. They were like, "Oh, so you're the wiener guy." And I've got a lot of positive feedback, more so than the negative. Um, maybe I just don't pay attention to it much, but you know, I hope it makes people laugh as much as it makes me laugh. That's my intent, and what comes about it, that I'll leave that on them. What you guys want to do with the name, that's up to you.
right. Yeah, because when Keith had told me, he said, "Man, this guy named Ema Winner." I was like, "Ema Winner?" I was like, "For real?" I thought he was just playing. Like, "Nah, that's not the name of it." He said, "Yeah," and I was like, "Man, we got the hat. We got the hat for you." And I was like, "Okay, man, let me get the hat." And I was like,
Let me see
"Oh
that hat.
man."
Put that hat on the screen. See that hat. I want to see that hat, man. I want that hat. I want the wiener hat.
Let me see it.
Wiener hat's up. That's right. That's right, boy. Look at that.
Go ahead and look him up on Instagram
Well, you know what? It's kind of strange.
and get your Eat My Wiener hat.
You both put the hat. He put a hat up here. You put a hat up there, and I'm bald, and that was between the two hats, man. I'm not, what I'm saying?
Oh man.
I had a real bad thought right there. It's like I became weird.
Man. Yeah, it's just I mean, that is just crazy though.
You gotta,
I just can't imagine how much fun you would have just presenting, because I mean, as a vendor, I mean, I've been out there and it's like you want to attract the attention. I wouldn't imagine how easy it is to just have somebody stop and just, like what, like and you would have to explain it to them, or, they're hot dogs, eat my wiener, and then you going through. I could just imagine that how much fun you would be. I would be laughing.
You
You'd
don't want
probably
to
be
miss.
laughing all night.
You see the word.
Hmm.
What does it say on the other side of eat my wiener? What is the other part of it that I'm gonna let him tell? What does it say? Read go ahead. You tell him what it says.
So yeah, our company motto is spreading love and happiness, one wiener at a time.
One wiener at a
Spreading
time.
love and happiness,
That is
one
just crazy.
wiener at a time.
That is just crazy. Okay, so go ahead and give yourself a plug. Tell us about your business, how to reach you. In any type of advertising, marketing that you want to say. You know, take it away.
Okay, so yeah, the best way to reach us is at Instagram, eat underscore my underscore wiener underscore. We do a lot of business through our Instagram page. Most of all of our business is done through Instagram. You can reach me on my email, which is right here on the bottom screen, eat.my.wiener at Gmail. Um, or you can call us 951-941-7659.
All right, all right. But how do you know what events to go to? What events or what shows? How does that pre knowledge and preparation to go to them?
Oh yeah. So like we always ask the event organizers, depending on the amount of people that they're going to have, what we can kind of anticipate. So we always have a formula, a rule is like 10% of what they expect is probably what we'll get, if that makes any sense. And depending on how large the event is, we'll either put a retainer on the event, or if it makes sense, we'll do it no charge at all.
Okay. Okay. No charge for you to get in.
Yeah, so like some event organizations, they will ask you to pay them a certain fee, um,
Hmm.
and depending on how large the event is, it may be worth it, you know. And just depending on the amount of people that they've brought in the past, we look at all those things, you know. Uh, we've had to learn this over the years that some events just don't pay out, and it's not it's not
Beneficial.
beneficial to just try to
Hmm.
go out to every event and lose, so we have to keep things relevant, and we have to look after the business in that way.
Great,
All
great.
right. Yeah, I would like to thank you for coming on the show, man. And I was like, this really made me laugh. I just it made me eager, like man, I'm like man, I gotta meet this guy. I gotta talk to this guy. What was he doing? You know what I mean? So I hope that also happens when we do this, when we air the video and stuff like that. I hope it also catches on like that because and you're right here too, so a lot of people are going to see it. Hmm.
I'd like to ask you a couple more questions before we go. I know that we didn't. I'd like to ask you this. Can you, first of all, um, talk about some things maybe we did not talk about on the show? Some things that you would like to be able to get out to the viewers, get out there that maybe we didn't discuss or asked about. I'd like you to give you the opportunity to do that as well.
I think it went above and beyond. There's not much I don't think we haven't spoke about. One thing that's kind of been on my mind is just telling you guys how grateful I am for this opportunity to be here and talk with you guys, and maybe talk to the community through your platform here. Um, just want to say you guys are awesome, and doing some good work here. I listened to a few of your other videos, so I really look forward to this. I really do.
Well, we thank you, man. We thank you for that as well because that was one of the things I wanted to ask you about was your experience, because we like to be able to let other people know, because not everybody, because I go and try to get your card, I try to talk to you, tell I have this podcast. It's important to the community that you show up and try to, talk about your business. But I like to know what your thoughts were, and what some of the things you went through, so that we can better either communicate, or just some of the things that maybe the podcast have changed in your view of what you were expecting in the beginning.
I don't have a lot of expectations with a lot of things that I do. I try to go with the flow. I think you guys, um, what I like about this show is you guys really hit a lot of different things. It wasn't just surface with you guys. You asked the hard questions, and some of them were, maybe to some people hard, but I like that. I like the realness, that authenticity. You know, I like that. I really do. I think you guys are doing good work, and I do believe that there's some great stuff here.
We definitely appreciate that, man, because the goal here is to, not, we do the part about the business, right? We understand the product and all of that as well. But like I tell people when I go out to these vending events, or whatever event I go to, when people buy your product, they buy your product, they turn their back and they're gone. They know nothing about you. And the story that, sometimes we get from a news station coming around and giving you 15 minutes or whatever it is, it's not really giving you the opportunity to talk about you and your journey and that you're on. And the thing that we're trying to establish here at KF&JF Podcast is to bring people together and try to uplift each other, so that we can pull more people off the couch that got those good ideas, got those good businesses, and just scared. They just need to see people like them. And that is what, I think, helps us to be able to, try to be a little bit unique in that way, and try to bring that conversation to the audience and viewers that are out there. And so we really do appreciate you taking your time out of your day to come on the podcast and have this conversation with us.
What
So
was it that you said you was training for the UFC? Did you actually do a couple of fights, or is there a way you want to reference those, or plug in some of the other places that you're doing on the side as far as your business?
Um, my past, I was training for UFC 2015. I got in an accident. Um, I was I was doing MMA. I would have liked to go to the UFC, but it wasn't in the cards for me. But I did train for quite a few years. I coached, I taught fighters. There's some people that I trained with that actually made it to the UFC. Um, a few names that are uh, relevant today. I think a guy named Sean Strickland. They call him Tarzan. Another guy, a local guy, Lorenz Larkin. A good friend of mine who's a boxer. His name is Chris Ariola. Those guys all I've worked with. Um, but yeah, I mean that was part of my life that helped me get through some hard times too. You know, the relevance it has to my business right now is I do security. I've kept with that, so I do have a security company. It's called Golden Seven Security, um, and I also have My Wiener. So those are two businesses I'm working on right now.
Okay.
that's
Okay.
great. If you know anybody else that would like to come on the show, or you have some friends that are out there in business that we can, bring to our audience, or have the opportunity to talk to them about small business, or what are some of the journeys that they're on, we really appreciate that.